Hello, good afternoon to all. This is William. I'm here with Ricardo. So welcome to our webinar. We will start the webinar in 2 or 3 minutes, just the time to give time to everybody to connect. So we will start, give us 2 minutes time. Okay, good. So good afternoon again, everybody. I propose to start with the webinar. Before we are going to talk about why to migrate your SAP workloads to the AWS cloud, I propose that I will present you very shortly our company. Who are we? Who is Linke? So Linke was created in 2010. We were created. It was at the base. It was an SAP, or shall I say, IT consulting company, focused on or specialized in SAP technical services. Since 2010, Linke is started using already AWS, mainly for our internal use. But then in 2012, when the AWS cloud was got the SAP certification, we decided to make a strategic change and to focus our complete strategy on SAP on AWS. So since 2012, we almost exclusively work with AWS and SAP on AWS. This means also that we have this extremely rare double SAP AWS competency. That how to say that you can also find in the different certifications that we have. So we are SAP partners, but we are also AWS preferred consulting partner. And if you look to the other different certifications that we have at AWS, so we have the AWS SAP competency certification. We have the DevOps competency, and you can see public sector. We have public sector partners. We have the non-profit competency, and we also are a solution provider for AWS. So, where are we today? So today we, as mentioned before, we are specialized in SAP on AWS. We performed in 2018. So only in 2018 we moved for 52 of our customers their SAP systems to the AWS clouds. Additionally to this, we are managing today 140 productive SAP instances, and we are present in about 9 countries. As I mentioned also, so we have a team of consultants that have the double competency SAP AWS. So we have in total 105 certifications of consultants who have 105 SAP and AWS certifications. Also very important, we are the only non-global consulting company that is AWS Premier Partner with SAP competences. And then last but not least, we also developed our own technology products to improve to improve your SAP experience on AWS. So I will present them shortly afterwards. So what are these products? So we have 6 products. The first one is an AWS connector for SAP to connect SAP directly with Amazon S3. This connector has been recently also certified by SAP. Same goes for our eMemory solution. So that is a cloud-native backup solution to backup and restore your SAP applications. Additionally, for this, we have a cloud-native application for high availability for SAP. So this serverless application allows you to orchestrate and to control the high availability of your SAP instances on AWS. The fourth product that we have is an automation platform for SAP. So this platform allows you to automate different activities, SAP infrastructure activities on AWS. So this will help you in your daily work to automate redundant activities that you are doing that taking a lot of time today because they are manual. And we can automate this for you. Then we have different pre-installed, so different templates with SAP pre-installed systems. So these templates allow you to deploy in some minutes a complete, new SAP installation. So let's say that you want to try out a CRM. So we can deploy for you a new CRM system in some minutes, so that you can then afterwards test the system and see if this could fit your business needs. And last but not least, we have a product for Elastic SAP. This solution allows you to do auto scaling of your SAP instances on AWS. So this connector can so easily add additional application servers or remove application servers on your SAP landscape by using predefined parameters. Let's say, for example, this can be a workload parameter. So once you get on your existing landscape, you get to 80% of your you use 80% of your capacity. Then you can, in some minutes, you can say, okay, add me here automatically one additional application server, so that I will not run into any problems on my systems. Okay, some of our customers. So the customers that you can see here on the screen are customers on our official list of customers that we can communicate. So you can see we have customers in different countries. You have LafargeHolcim in France, Northern Gas in UK, a lot of Spanish references, of course, because Linke has been founded in Spain. Oxfam as a non-profit organization. I will not go through all these references, but it's mainly for information. So now we come to the, I would say, main topic of today. So why should you migrate your SAP to AWS Cloud? So here we see 6 benefits of why you should move to, why a company should move to AWS Cloud. The first one is that the infrastructure that you have on AWS is all certified. It's certified by SAP. And you have reference architectures that are in place for your to help you in setting up your the best infrastructure for you. Second benefit is the speed. You can set up new systems in hours, not days anymore. Yes, almost all systems can be can be provisioned in very immediately. So there is no need to create a purchase order to your hardware vendor to wait until your vendor produces your new server and then delivers it to you. So the speed is a very important key benefit of moving to the cloud. The value, there is also an important TCO. So once you move to the cloud, you only pay what you are using. So from the moment there is a server that you're not using anymore, you can shut it down and you're not paying for it anymore. So it's more flexible and at the end, and also very transparent for you. Automation. So there, AWS is providing a lot of tools to automate different activities. Security. So there is AWS Cloud has a complete set of security services that are built in. And the last one is, so once you're on the cloud, the integration with other services, that AWS is providing, like artificial intelligence, IoT, is much more easier and will go much more faster. So once you're convinced that that AWS could be the AWS Cloud could be an option for you, what are the drivers or the opportunities to move from your on-premise infrastructure to the cloud? We have identified 4 drivers. The first one is infrastructure. So when you need to renew your infrastructure, this could be a moment when you can say, okay, now maybe it's time to move to the cloud. There is on SAP the whole discussion ongoing to move to SAP HANA. So how when you move to SAP HANA, you need special infrastructure. So also here, this could be a driver to move once you make the step to SAP HANA, that you change your infrastructure. The performance, once you start to have performance issues, so you say, okay, now, could be an interesting driver to make the switch from on-premise to clouds. The growth, so you have important growth in your company, so you need very fast new infrastructure or new resources. You have to make new installations. You are setting up new SAP instances or new SAP solutions. Or you could even use it for disaster recovery. Another main driver are the financials. So we see with experience that we have at our customers that the TCO is in most of the cases lower. So we go from CapEx to OpEx. So instead of instead of having assets, you are buying services. Other opportunity is SAP, so S4 for HANA. So all SAP customers, they have to make the move to S4 for HANA by 2025. So this road to S4 HANA is quite complex, and there are different steps that are required to get there. So we will get on the next slide. We will go a little bit more to detail about what needs to be done if you want what needs to be done if you are moving to S4 HANA, and how AWS can help you on this. And last but not least, so we have business drivers that can be the trigger to move to AWS. The first one can be acquisitions or divestitures, or if you want to facilitate to have an easier integration with cloud native initiatives. Okay, then I'm handing over to Ricardo for the next part of the presentation.
Thank you, William, and welcome everyone. As William mentioned earlier, all SAP ERP customers have to move to S4 HANA by 2025. That is the date that SAP has defined or set up for the sunset of current ERP maintenance support. And this journey to S4 HANA has different milestones and different implications in terms of the technology that runs beneath it. First, we know that S4 HANA is powered by SAP HANA, the in-memory database engine from SAP. And all SAP ERP customers that don't run their systems with SAP HANA as a database, they need to migrate to S4 HANA, to SAP HANA as a database before or at the moment of the migration to S4 HANA. As we mentioned before, the moment SAP HANA has to be considered, there's always a new infrastructure consideration and a new investment in infrastructure, and that's where we believe that Amazon has one of the best offerings for competitive SAP HANA certified instances. Additionally to the database, we have also a new UI that comes with the new SAP version, which is SAP Fiori. This UI is based on web technology, and as SAP recommends, there is additional infrastructure required to set up the SAP front-end server for the Fiori applications. So there is also additional requirements in terms of infrastructure on what the S4 HANA architecture represents. And of course, SAP is already announcing that some functionalities that will come with S4 HANA will require to be complemented and integrated with the SAP Cloud Platform, which comes with SAP's offering of cloud services for the enterprise. And therefore, S4 HANA will have the requirements to be integrated and the capacity to be integrated with the cloud. Now, what we see from our customers when they are approaching the S4 HANA journey, we see there are two different types of strategies. The first strategy being the what we call the brownfield approach. That's, I would say, the traditional way to upgrade the current ERP SAP systems to the S4 HANA version. This would be a conversion and a transformation of the application to the new version, and will have some implications depending on let's say the starting point from each of the customers. In order to achieve or to go through this brownfield strategy, customers need to ensure that their systems are based on Unicode. If they are not Unicode based, they need to do the Unicode migration conversion. Customers with systems that have all data are considering to do data archiving in order to reduce the database size, in order to reduce the infrastructure requirements of SAP HANA, because SAP HANA infrastructure, it's an in-memory database, and the database size is influencing directly to the amount of memory required. The smaller your database is, the smaller your SAP HANA requirements will be, and therefore the cheaper it will be for you. Of course, there will be some custom code adjustments as any SAP upgrade you face. We're all used to having to adapt our code to a new version. There is a new Fiori UI, which means new screens, new way of interacting with the application. So we see a lot of customers that they are investing a lot in putting new UI and creating new screens and new user interfaces for their SAP applications. And of course, with new SAP versions and new functionalities, there's always new ways of solving business processes offered by SAP, and we see some customers that they are re-implementing some processes on that way. Of course, this is a very complex, let's say, project and transformation, and we see lots of customers starting to move from now and planning to do that in a several-year project in order to complete their transformation before 2025. On the other hand, we are seeing customers who have a current installation that is very, very, let's say, complex or hard to maintain, and they are opting not to upgrade to S4 HANA, that's the current system, but to do a new implementation of S4 HANA and start from zero, implementing a new architecture, a new technology, but as well new business processes and new ways of doing things. So this has the benefit to start to start all new and not having to take, let's say, the errors from the past, but you have the challenge to do a new implementation again and having to run a very complex and cross-business implementation that by far is very complex to achieve. Now, having a look at the technical challenges from to get to S4 HANA, what we see in the different life cycle phases of different customers is that most of the customers start with the SAP ERP in whatever platform or version they have, doing the Unicode conversion or having systems already converted into Unicode, and checking the data archiving of their databases to see how they can minimize the size of the database in order to prepare for the first transformation, that it's migrating the SAP ERP to SAP HANA database. This is just a technology change. There is no change in the SAP ERP business application, so users don't get anything different than what they are used to work with. We're just changing the database technology underneath. But SAP HANA has new hardware requirements and has some technology implications that might need to that customers might need to adapt some of their code in order to optimize it for SAP HANA as a database. This transformation, this migration to SAP HANA is a very good opportunity and a very opportunity window to migrate to AWS, because at this moment we have to invest in new infrastructure, and AWS is offering us a platform to test, validate, and run SAP HANA at much lower costs than what it would be to have it on premise. After the migration to SAP HANA as a database, customers are starting to plan and do the move towards the SAP S4 HANA migration. That is, now it's the time to move to the new application version of the SAP ERP. In all the cases, this means the requirements for new infrastructure landscapes. just for the project. Before migrating our production systems, we have to set up temporary systems and test systems to test, validate, train our users, and make sure that everything is okay. At this point, Amazon is a great place to deploy these non-productive temporary systems that will allow us to be very agile and dynamic, creating, provisioning, and deleting the systems for our project requirements. Of course, there's the new UI, the new Fiori applications, which require new Fiori front-end servers to deploy. And that's new infrastructure that needs to be configured. And of course, S4 Hana brings new technology and the requirement to set up and update new interfaces with other systems, especially with SAP Cloud Platform, which comes as an extension of SAP S4 Hana functionality. Once we get to this point, what we are seeing from customers that they are already migrated to S4 HANA and they are already working with it, it's that they start thinking about what we call the extend scenarios. That is, their businesses have other initiatives based on cloud technologies. We see customers building chatbots, Alexa skills, machine learning scenarios, IoT projects. They're doing serverless development. They're building applications with containers. They're using a lot of cloud native services to build solutions for their businesses that they are not running or powered by SAP ERP applications, but they need these applications to integrate with their SAP applications because they have critical business data sitting on SAP that needs to be integrated with these cloud native applications. And for this, I would say most mature customers and mature in terms of experience in the cloud, we are seeing a high adoption rate of integration scenarios between their cloud native applications and their SAP workloads. Okay, that being said, for the S4 HANA journey and transformation that SAP ERP customers are starting to get engaged with, and coming back and do a small recap of the AWS benefits for SAP customers that William just mentioned before. And I would like to get a little bit more into details about each one of them. We talked about certified infrastructure, the speed that Amazon provides to our businesses, the value in terms of economic savings and lowering TCO, the power of the automation, the security that is built on the application, on AWS services, as well as the potential to extend the functionality of our applications with other cloud native services and built-in applications. So getting more into details. And we will focus now on what it's important for SAP customers. So first of all, Amazon, I always say it's more than just a infrastructure. It's not just only servers and memory and disk, but in this in this specific topic, we have to highlight that Amazon at the moment has the broadest offering of certified SAP HANA instances, that is virtual machines, that on a single server configuration, it goes from 244 gigabytes of memory up to 4 terabytes on a single virtual machine. And they have 6, 9, and 12 terabytes of memory on bare metal instances. Okay, all these servers are automatically provisioned for you and in a matter of minutes, and they're always managed and operated through all the standard Amazon APIs. So there is no difference at all into how you operate and manage each of these different types of servers. Also, in the scale-out scenario, where we can combine several servers running the same SAP HANA database, Amazon has certified by SAP a scale-out scenario of up to 48 terabytes of memory. This is combining 4 servers with 12 terabytes of memory. So this is a very broad offering of combinations that will fit each customer requirements. Of course, there might be some cases where it might not be big enough, but with this broad offering, most of the business requirements we are sure that will be met. Of course, on this topic, Amazon is always working and pushing forward, and they have already announced bigger instances to be released in the future. But it's also very important for us to highlight is that even though these instances are certified, Amazon is using latest CPUs, a very fast and reliable input-output and storage service, and a very fast network between the different servers we host on AWS. So we're talking about up to 128 CPUs per virtual machine of latest Intel CPUs, being able to reach up to 64,000 IOPS for a single server, and having up to 25 gigabits of network speed for one single server. That being all of that guaranteed and sustained for each of your virtual machines. Now, let's talk about the speed. When we talk about speed, it's not, we don't refer to the speed of the machine, of course, that it has to be fast, but Amazon gives you the ability and the speed to have a faster time to market for your SAP projects. You have the ability to deploy new infrastructure in minutes, to copy and to create new infrastructure and new servers, and grow and shrink your infrastructure in a matter of minutes, in order to be fast and be able to respond to your SAP business requirements at all times. Of course, in the SAP world, we have been always used to do sizing of their SAP infrastructure. We all come from a world where we have to think about 4 to 5 year renewal cycles for investing in infrastructure, and we always been guessing and doing sizing guessing for our infrastructure. This is no longer needed on AWS. You can set up and adapt your infrastructure, I would say almost in real time. In a matter of minutes, you can grow your servers or reduce your servers and ensure that the performance of your applications are meeting your business requirements. And of course, what we see for a lot of customers that they are implementing on AWS is that they grow as they need. They don't need to over-provision their infrastructure. They just use the infrastructure they need, and they know and they are confident that the moment they need more disk, more CPUs, more memories, or more servers, Amazon is there to give them that capacity instantly for them. And this is very, very important for customers to know that their business, their SAP projects and applications won't be stopped by the IT and the server provisioning process. Of course, we have the value, the money. Of course, we mentioned you don't have to invest in your infrastructure. So you go from CapEx to OpEx. You don't have to have assets, but you consume your services. Amazon has a very flexible pricing model where you pay for what you need. Of course, you have to understand this model, and you have to manage it so that you control that you are not overspending your money. But one very important thing here is overall, over the history of AWS, Amazon has always come year after year with price reductions for their services. So on the long term, we know that AWS is going to reduce the cost of their services. And this has a two-way of reading this. We can ensure that we will have the same performance of our applications for less money in the future. So one server that today is costing, I would say, $1, we know that next year it will be less than $1. But another way of reading that is that by keeping our investment to $1 in the future, we will have more performance for that same investment of money we have. And that has a direct impact on our TCO for the infrastructure of the application. We know that keeping with the same investment, we will get more performance in the future, so it will help us grow. But if we don't grow, we know that we will save money in the long term. One of the topics that is really, really important to focus and to highlight is the automation. Automation gives us the possibility to manage our infrastructure as code and to develop, test, validate, and deploy our infrastructure as we were treating software. And the result of that software is the infrastructure we are deploying in the cloud. This is very important because it allows us to test and validate our infrastructure before we go live with it. In the SAP world, we've seen lots of, I would say, artisan creation and deployment of SAP production systems in very complex scenarios that were not proven or tested before. We are creating for each customer a specific solution with some specific settings, and each customer and each enterprise has a different footprint and a different configuration. Thanks to the automation, we can create, evolve, optimize the same pattern, the same technology that will allow for a lot of customers to embrace and ensure that they are using the best possible combination of infrastructure and configuration on AWS. And this is something that is good for everyone. One great topic about automation as well is that it enables compliant validation. SAP customers usually have a lot of compliance and audit requirements they need to fill. When our infrastructure and our SAP applications are automated, we can check for compliance, I would say, in real time. We can query our infrastructure, we can validate because it's software, it's test. It's something that we can test and query and check in real time. So we can ensure, we can be more confident that we are meeting our compliance and audit regulations. And this, in a lot of companies, the amount of money spent in auditing and in checking for compliance of our infrastructure and SAP systems can be greatly reduced thanks to the automation that Amazon helps us with their services. And of course, all of this contributes to lower the TCO of our SAP applications running in the cloud. Of course, Amazon is secure. And I like to say always that it is as secure or more secure than the best thing you can get somewhere else. All AWS services, that's important to think it. Each of one of the AWS services that Amazon is providing, say it EC2, S3, EBS, whatever service, they all have built-in security within them. And that's something you are not paying for it. When we pay for a server on AWS, we're not just paying for CPU, memory, or disk. We're also paying for all the security that goes beneath it. And of course, there are a lot, Amazon with their services, they are meeting, I would say, most of the more restrictive and compliance requirements from lots of industries. And they are offering as well a lot of services to help us secure and encrypt data transfer and data at rest with their features. And finally, we have the capacity to extend the SAP functionality beyond the SAP software and integrate our SAP software with new native applications in the cloud. As we mentioned before, with big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, whatever you can build in the cloud, you can integrate it with your SAP applications. So at this point, we believe that SAP running on AWS is a great combination for SAP customers from now to the future, but adding our knowledge and our portfolio of products, we maximize all these benefits SAP customers can get from the AWS cloud. Now, we'd like to share a couple of examples for some of our customers, which had two different motivations. First customer is Avoris, which is part of the Barcelona Hotel Groups. This customer, we did a migration of their SAP infrastructure to AWS. The motivation for this migration was, I would say, infrastructure driven. But we would like to highlight that the feedback we got from the customer is that the availability and the reliability and the stability of the infrastructure was much better than what they used to have before. They forgot about it and they don't have to worry about that anymore. Another customer case we like to share is about Barcelona Hotel Group, which this customer did as well a migration of their SAP landscape into AWS, but they did extend the functionality and implemented our AWS connector to store all the SAP documents and all the data archives on S3 directly. So this helped the customer reduce the number of servers they needed to manage. They didn't have to use SAP content servers anymore to store those documents. Okay, so you can have a look as well in our website to the different public case studies, and you can read and access there and see how our different customers have experience and which were the different starting points to move to the cloud and how they have benefit themselves from moving and running their SAP systems on AWS. As well, we have some of those case studies already published on the AWS site where you can check them as well. And of course, if you're having a look at our webinar channel, you'll see that we have other webinars as well where we talk about many other topics around the SAP on AWS. So I guess we right almost on time. Thank you very much for being with us today in this webinar. We're running a little bit short of time, but we will be more than glad to answer any of the questions you might have. So if there's any question from the audience, we will be glad to answer that right now. So we're going to wait 1 minute to see if there is any question from the audience. Okay, we have a question saying if we have a specific solution to perform system copy operation and to monitor SAP metrics. At Linke, internally, one of our products, which is the SAP automation platform, we use that to automatically deploy SAP infrastructure and SAP applications on AWS. And we are using this to accelerate system copy scenarios. We are automating the copy of creating the new infrastructure, installing the SAP software, and recovering the database of the system. What we are not doing is the post copy settings that we need to do in each of the specific SAP systems and that we have to do after the system copy. That's something that we still do manually. In terms of monitoring SAP metrics, we are able to set up in CloudWatch monitoring small dashboards and use AWS CloudWatch monitoring custom metrics to reflect SAP CCMS standard metrics. So we are able to extract and read and react through CloudWatch on specific SAP application metrics. So we have another question from the audience saying, first referring to the deployment of new infrastructure on the needs. Okay, if it's directly managed, or in case you need to, if I understand correctly, if we need to deploy new infrastructure on demand, if this is something that the customer can manage by itself, or do they need to go through and reach AWS to do that? Well, actually, this is you can do this all by yourself. You don't need to speak with anyone from Amazon. You just connect to Amazon website. You create your account. This is a process that takes, I would say, 5 minutes. And once you have created that, you have a lot of quick starts and examples that can help you and guide you to set up your network, your virtual cloud environment, and to deploy your infrastructure. When you start like this, you put your credit card, you pay for with your credit card for what you use, and once you are finished, you destroy everything, and you don't have to pay for it anymore. And you will only pay for what you are using. Of course, it is possible to automate that. I wouldn't say that you can automate that through AWS as is, but if you want to reach us and get into more details, at Linke we are helping automate this process for customers so that they don't need to take care of that anymore. And of course, one of our products, which we mentioned before, which is Elastic SAP, which is the auto-scaling of SAP application servers based on the user activity. You can use that to automatically add more servers or reduce the number of servers based on different SAP metrics. It can be any CCMS metric, or it can be CPU consumption or something like that. I think we're running out of time. I don't know how I will have time to answer all the questions that I've seen over the now through the channel. I will reach afterwards to each one, and we will answer all the questions. So excuse me if the webinar just ends and we're not able to answer all the questions. But I promise we will reach back to you and answer all those questions again. Okay. Now we know, next question, it's referring to monitoring the station of system and corrective actions. When needed, is management. Okay, all the management operation of the infrastructure, that is managed, that will be always managed through AWS. But from the operating system level up to the application, that is something that is managed by the customer. So Amazon will take place of the infrastructure, the servers, the CPU, the networking, and the wiring, and so on. And you will take care from the operating system